Yeah, so I'm not showing my face. I don't never show my face because I just feel like this ain't even about me. This message is for those parents who are out here dealing with unruly children. And I'm a mother of six. I'm not gonna go into all the ages and stuff and break down everything. That'll come another time. But when I was going through stuff, and I'm 45, just turned 45. When I was going through stuff with my children, I couldn't find, and maybe I wasn't looking in the right places. I don't know, but I couldn't find information to encourage me or help me with what I was going through. Right, real time information. And I'm just here to tell you, if you're dealing with a daughter or a son, and you don't know where they at right now, you don't even know where they are. You ain't seen them, you ain't heard from them. You trying to get in contact with friends or family that might have seen them or might have heard from them. And I'm not talking about no little kids, no 8, 9 year olds. I'm talking about 13 and up, maybe even 12 and up, all the way up to 21. I'm gonna say 12 to 21. And they out here making bad decisions, running with the wrong crowds, getting involved in stuff. First thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to pause for a minute and look at yourself and see, did you have anything to do with this? Is you smoking, drinking around them? Is you living a lifestyle around them that's conducive to them not doing the things you don't want them to do? You know what I'm saying? Or are you the one doing stuff that's kind of provoking this behavior and making them feel like this behavior is okay? Now, if that is you, you need to take accountability, and you need to have either an open apology. They like you to do stuff on Instagram and stuff like that these days, or you need to reach out to them and apologize. And you need to try to find a way to move forward, because you're going to have some bad habits that you're going to need to change and switch up on if you want this child to be successful. If you somebody who don't do those things, or maybe you do them a little bit and you done messed up, but messed up, and they know you smoke cigarettes, it's don't do what I do, just do what I say. Like, it's I'm trying to tell you that mindset don't get you nowhere. So if you smoking blacks and cigarettes and stuff like that, they're eventually probably gonna do it too. Like, sad to say, pretty sure some statistics out there that talk about that. And I'm an educated woman. I might not sound like it because it's just me talking in my normal speak. You got to know that what you do is going to impact them. But back to what I'm saying. Once you done paused and you done took that accountability and you said, okay, I'm going to change, it's hard to hold your head up and go to work every day knowing you don't know where your kid is. It's the summertime. I thank God that I know where my children are. But it ain't always been that situation. I done had to kick down doors to find a child. I done had to get the school counselor and stuff involved. I've had to take kids to therapy. I've had to seek out military schools to see if that was the route. Dads are in their lives, but I leaned on them even more when going through this stuff, because I can't sit here and act like them not being there don't play a part in it. You see what I'm saying? Some situations be triggering for kids, like divorces and breakups, and a girlfriend breaking up with them. They don't tell us everything, or a boyfriend breaking up with them, and then they losing friends all the time at rapid rates. Like, we barely ever heard about people we went to school with dying. Well, they hearing it all the time, and then they friends, they got so many more friends because the ratio of friends now is higher, because they got that, social media. So they hearing about friends dying, and then they got this pressure. And I'm not making excuses for that behavior, but I'm just trying to get you to see some of the stuff they be going through. And then some of us just snap so much, and when we snap, we get to saying things we don't mean. They be so disrespectful to us, and because we weren't disrespectful to our parents like that, we like, who the hell they think they is? And then we get to saying stuff, and we get to feel bad that you didn't call her a bitch, or you didn't call him a bitch ass nigga, because they disrespecting you, and you feel like you supposed to be respected as a parent. And next thing you know, is hollering and screaming, and then the child gone. They gone. You don't know what they at. And I would encourage you, if that situation happened again, for you to just stop in this situation and just hug the child, hug that kid, just hug them straight up. If you know they ain't got no mental issues or nothing like that, because sometimes some of this stuff be mental, you might need to go get them checked out. But if you know it ain't no mental issues, then you have to stop and pause in that moment and hug them. And I'm talking to myself because it wasn't too long ago. I had to say some things to my 21-year-old son, and I was right for saying them, but how I said them was wrong, And so it's hard for you to have to go to work and focus every day not knowing where that kid is. I just want to encourage you to get up every day with the mindset that things are going to get better. Get up every day and do that job, because you still got to work. You still got to handle your business. If you at a company where you can be transparent and open with your leader or your manager, you let them know, like, hey, this is what's going on right now. And I may be in a position where sometimes I might just have to leave or something. But I'll make my work up, or I'll work more hours or whatever. Like, you got to communicate. So that's one of the number one things you want to do. You can seek help from your pastor and your family. I did all those things, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. I wasn't getting no help. Nobody want to deal with this. Around the time the George Floyd stuff happened, and I had moved to some apartments for the first time, and that'll be another story time. But long story short, I wasn't getting no help. I reached out to my sister to see if he could probably live over there, because I felt like a change of environment would have been right for him. And right at that point, I was in the middle of my lease, couldn't break the lease. If I did break the lease, I need a lump sum of money to be able to move to a better area. And I was 8 months out from being able to do all of that. Had a plan, was only going to be there temporary, gainfully employed. Like I said, not in no situation where I'm waiting on Section 8 or I'm dealing with food stamps. Not to knock none of that, but that wasn't my situation. But bottom line is, I reached out to multiple people. I went to the military school. That could have been a viable option for something for me to do. And I ended up not doing that because he wasn't being cooperative, and he was just, it was a lot. And I didn't have nobody to reach out to. And so you're going to have to use your parents' superpowers, because sometimes if you dig and find out what the root cause of those issues are with the kid, you'll find it out. I feel like I didn't do that. I put my son in therapy instead of me. I kept trying to talk to him and talk to him and talk to him. I even ended up dating a dude who I felt like could help me with him, like real talk. But I mean, it's a long story. But I was desperate to get him on the right path. His own biological dad couldn't get him there, and at that point, and he was already disassociated himself from him, like just mad at the world, almost like, went from being like a church boy to wanting to be a thug. And I know it had something to do with where I moved to, because before then I wasn't having those issues. So your kids can get recruited, and they don't want to look like the lame dude or the lame girl in the neighborhood. That's why I'm staying in these apartments. It's a risk. It's a risk to live in these apartments and raise teenagers and raise kids. It's a risk. You got to have a home. You got to be set apart. You know what I'm saying? You got to. All trying to not move out the neighborhood that you grew up in just because that's your area or whatever. Man, screw all that. Excuse me. You need to go somewhere where the environment is an atmosphere where it's peaceful. Where it's not package stores on every corner. They ain't got nowhere they could just be trapping and hanging out with a bunch of dudes and it not seem unfamiliar. It not seem like it's wrong. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have to make that decision. That you're going to have to move. Like, you're going to have to get that money right to move by any means. Like, real talk. If it's the environment, you're going to have to go. And like I said, a lot of it just got to do with you too. Like, you can't be all out here on Instagram and trying to live your best life, man. Whatever it's about them kids now. These kids is sacrifices. So if you ain't somebody who want to make sacrifices, man, stop having these kids. Because this is a hard job. You're going to be worried for the rest of your life. If you're a good parent, this how you know you're a good parent, if you're worrying. That's how you know. All these other things that people talk about, like if you're worrying about how good of a parent you are, that's what makes you a good parent. I'm getting off subject, but that's number one. You're going to have to talk to your boss, and let your boss know what's going on. If it's somebody that you can talk to, because sometimes your job has resources that can assist, whether it be from mental health, whether it be if they need to be in rehab, counseling. Your job has resources. If you have benefits, you can get them to therapy. But it's really gonna start with how you conduct yourself around them, what you doing around them, and if you being honest about who you are around them. Now, if you doing all those things already, and then you still don't know where your kid at, you still don't know what's going on, like you definitely gotta file a police report if you don't know where that child is at, and they're under 17. File that police report. They're gonna get to talking about they gotta have a certain amount of points before they can do anything. But you need to exhaust all measures as a parent. They have anger management classes. They have classes for you and your child, within the county and the state. But sitting down and talking to them and trying to change their environment and trying to find some positive reinforcement. What's something that they could be doing? What's something that they can be involved in, to take their energy and stuff and channel it somewhere else? Are you calling out the good things and the positive things about them that they're doing? Are you bringing notice to that just as much as you bringing notice to the bad stuff? Because talking to that kid and trying to really get through to that kid, that's where it's going to really come in at. Because all these external factors, they're hard to find when you're going through something with your kids. And this is the 17 and under group that I'm talking about. So, you communicate with your boss. You find all the resources that you can. You do a self-examination on what you could possibly change in your household and what you got going on around you. Question this child about what, hey, anything happened to you? Like, what's up? Like, what's going on? Like, make sure you know what's going on. Be having no folks around your kids that might be doing something to them or something you don't even know, and you thinking that they acting out for this reason. Like, try to find that root cause, and after you done found that root cause, after you done eliminated all the other stuff, sometimes it's society. Sometimes it is society. They want to do what they see out here in these streets. Straight up. Once you done did all that stuff we just talked about, a lot of that other stuff is they are influenced by what they see out here. And if you let yourself go into have a stroke going crazy because they refuse to deal with whatever they want to reconcile in their brains, because they want to make grown decisions and they want to be adults. And this is the 17 through, I'm gonna say, like 21-year-old group I'm talking about. That age group. They want to do what they do. They think you lying because you might have a little belly, or because you ain't on Instagram, because you don't be taking no flights, and you still dealing with her lame ass daddy, or my daddy broke or my mama broke. They think you don't know nothing because you don't own this and you ain't got that. You ain't got no followers. Like they can judge you. Like, spirits don't care who they hop on, and so they can hop on these kids and have you in a whirlwind of psychosis, thinking that you just the worst parent ever and you ain't shit. They done said stuff to you, they done cursed you out, they done did it all, and you sitting there tripping on them. Man, let me tell you something, and this coming from somebody who done went through this type of stuff. You don't lose no sleep at night. Don't you lose no sleep at night. Make sure that you get your 10,000 steps per day. Keep yourself healthy. Try to take care of yourself the best you can, because that's the minute you start smoking and drinking, or you might fall into some vices or whatever. Stay away from porn. Stay away from anything that's not going to help you. And this is me talking to myself too, because when you go through these things, you need that spiritual capital to take care of yourself so you don't have no stroke. Because you ain't never talked to your parent like that. This child ain't called you all types of bitches and they put their hands on you, all kind of stuff. I see some of these videos out here. I'm probably going to start reacting to them. I just feel like I need to talk about some of this stuff, because I didn't have nobody to call. People don't be want to hear that mess. People don't want to hear what the heck you got going on. They be like, let me know what I could do for you. Man, people don't really, hey, let me tell you something. No one is coming. No one is coming to save you in this situation. The best you can get and hope is that you don't get a call from the police that something's happened to your child. That's what you need to be your prayer every day. Speaking positive stuff into it. Trying your best to find a way to get them to come back home. Do I need somebody to leave for you to come back home? Like, them type of questions you need to ask for that younger age group. But when you out here dealing with these disrespectful kids and stuff like that, man, protect your peace before you end up stroking out. And then you ain't good to nobody. Protect your peace. You need to pray about it. You need to stop enabling them. If you've constantly been helping them and they haven't changed their behavior, man, you're only out, and if you know it's like drugs involved or something like that, your only option is like, look, I can help you with rehab. I can get you into rehab. But right now you're disturbing the peace. You creating a toxic and unsafe environment for me and my family. Because safety is first. Safety is first. Which means your mental health safety too. So you can't be in no environment where you being bullied or taken control of by some adult kid. You know what I'm saying? Once they become adults and they get to doing certain things and having certain type of behavior, you need to know that you can't be responsible for it. You can't be the person that's allowing it to happen. Because you constantly helping them out. Nah, protect your peace, get your sleep. You know what I'm saying? Drink your water. Pray for them. Stop thinking that you the cause of all this behavior. Man, no. You know, we are up against so many different influences out here. You're competing with all those. So all that lame stuff you think you're trying to say to them, sometimes life has to teach them. Honor your mother and your father. You know, like sometimes life has to teach them certain things you just ain't supposed to say to your parents. You know, disrespecting your parents, calling them bruh, calling them out their name, or trying to hit below the belt. Like, no. If you in an environment where you didn't dealt with that from your parents, get away. Like, if your parents did something to you and abused you or whatever, get away. Get away from them and go get you some help. Don't stay in that environment. But that's why I say I'm not talking to parents who've done those things to their kids. I'm talking to parents who have tried their best and done their best that they can, and they dealing with these unruly kids and adults. You get your sleep, you get your rest, you need to eat good, and just know you ain't the only one out here going through that, man. It's a lot of people out here going through this kind of stuff, and we ain't talking about it. We ain't talking about it. But I got a lot more to talk about, and it's gonna always just be him in the frame, because this ain't even about me. You don't need to see what I look like. But you just stay strong. You just know that you're not the only one going through this. You pray for that child. You try to do the best you can to create a safe environment that they feel like they can come to. You make sure you've exhausted all resources with the law and, you know, missing persons report, anything like that, if it's any of those types of situations, because everybody's situation is different. So if it's something where, you know, you know who they hanging out with or whatever, give all the information over to the police. Give everything over to the police. But if you just dealing with somebody who just being unruly and they ain't missing and they just like screw you, you know, create a safe environment. Don't meet them with that toxicity. Try to find out the root cause. Once you've done those things and tried to find out the root cause and exhausted all measures to try to get them the resources that they need, and they still want to be combative, you need to sleep at night and just pray for them, and don't let them cause you to stroke out. All right, be strong.